something epic?
Oh, most definitely. I would definitely click on it. Actually, at the start of 2024, I always make a vision board every single year. And Yellowstone, 1923, particularly 1883, is one of my favorite series of all times. And I wrote on my vision board top three people I wanted to work with Taylor Sheridan being one of those top three. So when I got, and this was one of the first auditions I got for the beginning of the year, and I like hadn't been able to audition for him yet, and so I was over the moon. And then to be able to land the role and get to go on set and work with Taylor Sheridan and the amazing crew that they've assembled was truly a dream come true and quite literally on the bucket list.
And Brooke, I know this is an all-star assembly cast, but when you tried out for this role, I imagine there was an awful lot of secrecy to the role. I don't know whether you auditioned in person or whether you sort of self-taped, but did you know who was attached to the project when you auditioned for the role? Did you know the likes of legendary Billy Bob Thornton was attached to this sort of role? And if not, was it a good thing? Did it make, was it a blessing in disguise, or did it make you less nervous? Or if you knew about it, did it make you bring your A game to the table?
I would say it definitely made me bring my A game. I think giving the nature of the rest of Taylor's shows, that there's already an element of that as well. And I do believe at that time Billy Bob Thornton was attached to it. So I think he was maybe even the only one I knew was attached. But regardless, I knew anything that this production was a part of was going to be amazing.
And in terms of the whole, I know it's Fort No in Texas. I do believe the show was sort of filmed. In terms of getting that sort of feel to it, that middle America sort of country vibe, that whole sort of business, did you go down? Did you sort of sample the atmosphere, the sort of genre to really immerse yourself in this character? Because Abilene, that name itself, has got a real sort of country sort of. Music sort of element to it. It's almost like a Dolly Parton sort of feel to it. It wouldn't be like West Coast or East Coast. So I imagine that you have to bring this sort of country girl sort of element to it.
For sure. And I'm actually from a really small kind of farm town in South Carolina. So there are definitely elements that resonate with home to me a little bit there. Particularly her name, Abilene. There's a song someone showed me. It's like kind of from the 50s, I believe, with the title Abilene. And in the scene, I would listen to that on repeat to kind of get me into this fluid motion of her character and sing along to it. And I think that added like a fun little element to the character.
Yeah. And did you try and give her, did you go with your own authentic voice, or did you try to be a bit of twang or a bit of an accent to the character, given it was a Texas type series?
Yeah, I definitely tried to lean into the accent a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose, Brooke, in terms of filming the show, I spoke to Mustafa Speaks, and he went down to Fort Knox for the time he was filming there, and he spent a bit of time to learn a bit more about the industry, learn a bit more about what he was getting involved to, and the dangers and the complex nature of it. Did you sort of do a bit of research into the oil business, into the oil sort of, just to get a sort of background knowledge in your head when you're on camera, to feel that you had a bit of knowledge about the industry and what was involved and what was going on that was being filmed around you?
Yes, for sure. Because that's definitely an industry I didn't know much about prior to this. I also, weirdly enough, did a film in Texas the year before where my fiance in the film worked in the oil rigging business. And so I also did a lot of deep dive, particularly for that film. And then it was interesting to link these two projects together, centered around that. And I'm actually in a scene with Mustafa, so that was really fun. He's one of the kindest, most generous, softest people, and his character is so rugged and hard. So it was fun to see him go fully into that character and then break and be this like light, bubbly character. So I'm excited for you guys to see his character come to life too.
And Brooke, we know the oil business, and I've seen the trailer. It's breathtaking, and some of the stunts and the special effects that are done in terms of the nature of the industry. There's an awful lot of dangers, and I know safety was paramount on set. Did you get to see some of those explosive scenes up close and personal when you were on set, or were they all shot when you were a far distance away, or did you get to sit around the sample and see the stunts team and Landman do go to work and do their business?
Yeah, so none of my scenes involved any on-site or rigging shots. But in the film I was just telling you about that I did year prior, there is a scene where well, I guess I shouldn't give too much of that away either because that movie hasn't come out yet. But there is an explosive scene that is quite dramatic and horrible, and it was not hard to get into character seeing like just how dramatic and horrible the reality of that is.
Okay. And Brooke, I suppose there's so many background characters to this, and every project takes on a life of its own. But when you have, say, Billy Bob as your lead role, but when you have Demi Moore, Colin Fiore, Kayla Wallace, James Jordan, the list goes on and on. It must give a bit of hope when you appeared in 3 episodes for the first season that there might be a bit of longevity. I know it's a dangerous word, longevity in the acting business with what I say with TV companies and TV directors and boardroom decisions, nothing is beyond the chopping table. But it must give a bit of hope and longevity that, given the nature of the show and the concept and the premise and everyone attached to it, this might be more than a one season wonder, and there might be a bit of a recurring role attached to this.
Yes, that would be an absolute dream. I think that the show is going to be really good. I have some friends who are on the show that have gotten to see a few episodes and just spoke absolute, just amazing remarks regarding it and think that it's going to be very successful. It was also, yeah, a dream to be able to work with all of those actors. I felt just so giddy in my trailer, like looking out my window, seeing like, oh, there's Demi Moore's trailer. This is so cool and crazy. Also, my scene was with Michael Pena and Amelia Rivera, and I look up to both of them so much and have watched them for many years. And so getting to act alongside them in a scene and watching them improv and play and just seeing their artistry come to life was such a surreal moment. It is it just I've been pursuing acting for 8 years now, so kind of crazy, but it was one of those moments where after all of the no's and all the perseverance, even though I still feel like I have so far to go, it felt like, okay, like we're starting to do it. It's
You're
starting
in
to come to
Hollywood
fruition.
now, as the saying goes. You're in
Yeah.
Hollywood now.
It always feels like Christmas Day getting to be on set. So
Brooke, I'm going to take you away now from Landman for the moment. And before we came on air, you mentioned one or two other projects that are in the production phases, pipeline that might be coming our way later on in 2024, early in 2025. Is there anything you might want to share or discuss with about those projects?
yes, for sure. So this summer I had the opportunity to go to Bali, Indonesia to work on a small indie film that actually has a really fun script storyline. And it was super low budget, but I was just so overwhelmed and amazed at the writers and producers. A small group of there's like four of them total who wrote and like put everything together, are filming the entire project, and they were out there for 3 months. I was out there for about 3 weeks filming with them. And I mean, we had long days of trying to figure out how to make a movie with such a small crew of people. And I mean, you see in that scenario why it takes hundreds of people on a big blockbuster set. But I was just blown away at them at the shots we were able to get, at the artistry that every actor brought and the videographer. So yes, Ring of Fire is what that is called, and it's gonna be amazing. So keep your eyes out for that one.
Okay. And Brook Sill, 2 years ago when we spoke, you said Ireland was in the bucket list. And I do believe you can sort of tick that off now. That bucket list has been achieved. And did it live up to the expectations? And since then, have you had dreamy nights of temptation whispering in your ear saying, come back, Brooke, come back, Brooke?
Yes, I actually even took a blood test and I have 3% Irish blood in me, or 3%, I said put two, 3% Irish blood in me. So that was kind of fun. But I loved it. I went for 3.5 days and it really blew me away, particularly the food. I don't think I had in my mind, I didn't think much about food in Ireland, but I every single meal I ate was extraordinary. And the Cliffs of Moher were stunning. We drove through the countryside, experienced Dublin, all of it. I fell madly in love with Ireland.
Okay. And Brook Sill, for the final 30 seconds, I'm going to turn it over to you. You might lighten all our audience, all our listeners, when the worldwide premiere comes out on November the 17th on Channel Paramount Plus. When TV list viewers and our listeners turn on their TV screens, they see the first episode of Landman. Are they going to be blown away? Are they going to be falling off their chairs? Is there going to be explosions in their own household?
Yes, there most definitely will. I think that everyone's eyes are going to be peeled and you're not going to want to even use the restroom or go get food. You're going to want to just lock in fully. And there's definitely, it's going to be amazing.